Good morning, everybody. It's back. We're back to Lantern Corp today. And this Lantern Corp video comes to us from PR Super Guru. Super PR Guru, I believe it was. Who asked the question, "What is the Lantern Corp, Rocky Balboa? Hey, Adrian, and all that good stuff." Rocky's a fun character. He's one of those guys who definitely can cross a bunch of these emotional thresholds in a very different way than some of the other characters. And at some point, he theoretically could have qualified for nearly all of these Lantern Corps, though certainly a couple would have been excluded. For example, there are points in the series he definitely could have been a Sorrow Lantern. Again, it's the most recent Lantern Corps. I cannot guarantee exactly what qualifies for a Sorrow Lantern, except immense depression, possible like the emotional sorrow being betrayed, all that. Um, otherwise, yeah, no. Otherwise, he's not been happy his entire life. Could not be a Gold Lantern. He's definitely been ashamed at points in the series. Oh, 100%. But that's not his core emotional defining feature. I wouldn't. I couldn't say that. White Lantern. Sure, he's a dad. He's helped bring life into the world, but I wouldn't call him a White Lantern in terms of celebration of life. Nor would I call him a Black Lantern. He's never actually killed a man. But if we go beyond that, and he's not someone who's greedy at all. He's not an avarice lantern. However, if we go past that, the remaining six are not that difficult in theory. Lantern of Hope, for example, he's certainly inspirational. And he certainly carried some hope with him, but he's also been down on his luck multiple times, not thinking he could do something, especially not beating Creed or anything like that. So I definitely don't think he, I don't think he could really be a Blue Lantern, but it's certainly a possibility. He's also not a Red Lantern. While he's been angry, the most angry scene we have of him is probably his revenge for Apollo Creed. Um, and like when he defends the girl and Rocky Balboa. But there's really he's not really an angry lantern. He's not an angry lantern. He's not really lantern of anger and rage. Um, Still, in theory, there's a possibility it could work, but it's probably one of the least likely. Fear is an odd one. I definitely don't think he's a fear lantern, but he is someone who just constantly scares his opponents a little bit. Like he doesn't inspire fear, just be like, oh God, you're gonna die. He's like, no, but he's someone that the longer you keep fighting him, like Drago got scared of him eventually. Apollo got afraid of him. It's like, I saw you give that man a beating. I ain't seen you give any other man, and the man kept coming after you. We don't need that. So on some level, Rocky could scare people, absolutely. But ultimately, no, I don't think that's the right core either. I think it's one of three. The boring answer, again, as always, is green. It's the lantern color of will. And if we're talking about will, overcoming your fear, great willpower, oh, Rocky is a textbook Green Lantern. 100% he would be. But he's also one of the most compassionate guys around. Like, this is a guy who genuinely cares about people and just likes to try to do good by them. It's one of the few characters that when compassion comes up as a category, or as a possible category, he's someone who it actually works in the reverse. Normally, it's a character who's got to be near devoid of it or completely devoid of compassion. But the opposite is true too. You can have it as your dominant trait and still work. And it's one of his dominant traits. So compassion at least would have to be considered and a strong consideration. However, it's got to come down to either will or love, because ultimately one of his motivating factors is the love he has for the people around him, his family, his friends, all of that, and it is a strong motivator. Particularly when it comes to Adrian, and then later in the Creed films when it comes to Adonis. Um, it's certainly one of his most defining features. And even Polly, Creed, all that. So the question is, would I go green or would I lean more towards love? And just based on his profession, I'd say I'd probably lean a little bit more green. Honestly, if he wasn't in fact, you know what? I would tell you this. During his boxing career, he'd be a Green Lantern, but after the fact, when he's retired, he'd be a Lantern, a Star Sapphire, because now he's no longer got to put all that aggression, rage, and will into the ring to just power through his opponent. So now it's like, now that even though he's got the will, he kind of gave up on the will a little bit in Creed, where he was just willing to die. So I think love is probably now the more defining trait of him at that point. So ultimately, I'd say in his heyday, in his boxing career, going all the way to Balboa, he would have been a Green Lantern. In his retirement years, he's a Star Sapphire. That's my opinion, though. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later.